I'm going to go ahead and turn over the mic to Paula Rogovin, who doesn't mind being arrested. Oh, the clicker? I took it. All right, and we have to put up, what was the name of yours? The very next PowerPoint.
Hi, I'm a retired teacher, elementary school teacher. I taught 44 years in New York City public schools. And having retired in 2018, it kind of freed me up to do even more environmental and peace and justice activism. So,
Don't fall.
Okay. This is the topic. I just have to figure out how to work this. There we go. Okay, I'm not going to repeat some of the things that were said earlier, but when Lamagantic happened in 2013, I lived like 2 blocks from the tracks. How many of you do live near the tracks? CSX, Conrail, yeah.
Paula, you got to speak into the mic.
Oh, okay.
Do you want this one?
Yeah, but then I can move a little bit. Thank you. Is it good? Okay. So I'm right near the tracks, and so, well, we better do something about this, because the same materials, like back in crude oil, vinyl chloride, they go through our communities also. So we formed an organization, and the Coalition to Ban Unsafe Oil Trains, we've demonstrated by the tracks, we've worked on bridge safety. We tried to get a bridge over the Ordell Reservoir, which serves drinking water for over 800,000 people. We tried to get the bridge repaired. That was a CSX bridge, and it took us a year of fighting and demonstration after demonstration to finally get that bridge repaired. It's been a very, very tough fight. So we have been fighting nonstop, but tragically, the rail industry is in collusion with
The government.
all the politicians, most of the politicians. They're in collusion. Historically, the rail industry has been. So the trains that carry these materials are interstate. They're controlled mostly by the federal regulations, not by state regulations. So getting any kind of legislation is really, really, really difficult. In 2014, Senator Loretta Weinberg introduced a bill on our behalf that covered just some of the few safety things that can be controlled by the state. And what's really sad is that both Democrats and Republicans all along either vetoed, pulled, or refused to deal with this legislation. So I don't know if you know Howard Skip Elliott. He used to be the vice president of CSX. When Trump came along, he got elevated to the head of the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. Isn't that interesting? CSX, major rail corporation, heading PIMSA, making regulations. Well, he didn't make regulations, they pulled the regulations, the safety regulations. And that will happen again if Trump wins this election. The rail safety regulations will just get trashed. We are making some progress getting this legislation passed. We've removed some of the right to know elements of it and putting them in a separate bill so we can at least get wayside detectors, minimum of 2-person crew, regulating the length of the trains. And it's funny because at one of the hearings recently in Trenton, the Norfolk Southern people said that it's great to have long trains. It's good, fewer greenhouse gases. It was like just a disgrace, the greenwashing of even the train issues. So we are hoping to get this bill through. Please, we're going to call on you to testify or to contact your legislators to get this bill passed. It has the support of the rail unions, first responders, and a lot of the environmental groups. Every year in July, the anniversary of Lamagantic, we have a rally to remember, to read the names of those 47 victims. They're not numbers. They were children, women, and men, and there have been suicides since. We want to keep those names in our hearts as we continue to demand rail safety. So this was recently, this was in July, and you can see we had a speaker from Lamagantic Rail Safety Committee and a speaker from a firefighter from East Palestine, Ohio, because we see the connection between our local issues and the national issues and international. So why does it make sense to talk about rail safety at a conference about plastics? You can see here where the trains go through New Jersey. That red, yellow line, that's the evacuation route, the evacuation zone. All of us who live in those communities are in great danger. But most of those trains go through major cities like Newark, Jersey City. And, you know, a derailment in Lamagantic killed 47 people. A derailment of similar materials could actually kill thousands or millions of people, or harm thousands or millions of people, particularly in environmental justice communities. So the rail issue is really should be an important part of this fight. The train that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio, was carrying vinyl chloride from oxyvinyls in Texas. Where was it going?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, an oxyvinyl company, a manufacturing plant in Hedrickstown, which is near Gibbstown. We've been fighting, the environmental movement in New Jersey has been fighting LNG, liquefied natural gas plant, that they want to put in Gibbstown. So but that train was going right from Texas through many, many towns and cities, including East Palestine, and then to New Jersey. The National Transportation Safety Board found that the derailment was caused by a hot axle, and it was carrying polypropylene plastic pellets. There was vinyl chloride, and when they let that fire happen, it produced the same dioxin that was talked about earlier. But that same dioxin is what harmed people at the dioxin plant in the Ironbound of Newark during the Vietnam War, diamond alkali. And that dioxin leftovers from that plant were dumped into the Passaic River, and the dioxin is still, the particulate matter is still on the ground in the Ironbound. We have people from the Ironbound here, leaders who were, so well aware of this tragedy and the cancer cluster related to that. As an aside, my boyfriend is a Vietnam vet. He was there in 1962-63, and just in recent years got the symptoms of Agent Orange, of dioxin poisoning from Agent Orange. So we know that when there are these derailments, when there are these fires, and things like, vinyl chloride burn, and the dioxin, that I'm not a medical person, I don't pretend to be, I'm really, just an environmental activist, but that stuff can have short-term, but it can have long-term effects. So when the people in East Palestine are very, very worried about their future, some of them are sick now, but those illnesses will, correct me if I'm wrong, will continue perhaps for generations, same as in Paulsboro. It's terrifying, and so we have to work on this issue. It's critically important. So some of you were at these demonstrations, some of you who are here in this room. We've been working very hard and successfully to stop the Meadowlands power plant in North Bergen. Some of you may have been at this right here in, this one was in Newark, Rutgers, Newark, where we successfully finally stopped the New Jersey Transit gas plant. These were hard fights. Many of you know that. Demonstration after demonstration, meeting and forum after forum. Really, really difficult. And some of you, you were there, Dr. Blumberg, you spoke at this, where 136 healthcare workers, providers, and scientists announced a letter opposing the Passaic Valley Storage Commission gas plant, which would have been which is proposed for the Ironbound. It would be the 4th gas plant in an area that already has an incinerator that was talked about earlier. So, so you might even see some of yourselves in these pictures. So, some of you were actually as a part of this effort by Veterans for Peace, where we went on this Golden Rule boat through Newark Bay, where people were shown where that Captain Agent Orange factory, the dioxin factory was. And so we're talking about the link between the militarism and environmental issues, environmental pollution. So here we are, Formosa Plastics. I had just gotten off probation. I'm sorry, but I had a year of probation when we tried to stop. We blocked the entrance of a compressor station that was being built in the Highlands in West Milford, New Jersey, and we got a 1-year probation, and I had just gotten off of it. So Sam DeFalco from Food and Water Watch said, "Do you want to participate in this action at Formosa Plastics?" And I have not been involved in the plastics issue. Mostly the fossil fuel issue. My students, my kindergarten students, actually helped get a law passed on their behalf to ban the use of toxic pesticides in all of New York City parks, playgrounds, and public spaces. So, but I hadn't been involved in the plastics issue. So, as a retiree, I actually have a little more room to get involved. And so I said, sure, I'll go there. And so I did, and I was one of there were 6 of us arrested, and 4 of us have gone on to refuse to just let this get passed over. We want a trial. We want to have our expert witnesses speak about the health impacts and the other impacts of plastic, and some of the issues that are being discussed today. And so I was happy to participate, very willing to participate. We're no longer going to be in the Livingston court. It's pretty hard to ask a judge, or expect a judge, in a town that has a company of 350 employees to hear our expert witnesses about how bad, how evil this company is, and I would say Formosa Plastics is evil. Their policies are evil, their practices are evil, the destruction of the environment, the destruction of people's health, it's pure evil, it's wrong. And
2 minutes, Paula.
yeah, I'm gonna go real fast. There's Diane. Diane chained herself to the gate. A few other people did. We stood there and we sang, we chanted, we got arrested. Here's Anne. These photographs, Diane actually collecting those nurdles that you talked about, Carrie. She is an inspiration. This is the thing that bothers me, that angers me. I know you have 2 minutes, but I'm going to give you some anger, might show you a little anger. There was that $50 million settlement. Hooray, hooray. And it's supposed to be zero waste. But these are page after page of violations of that. Diane and her team have been collecting samples and reporting all these violations. So this lousy, evil company is paying $22 million in violations. It's if you took out a penny from your back pocket. It's nothing to them to pay $22 million. And then the pollution of the water, the land, and the air just continues. And it makes me furious. So we want them to, our demands are cancel the proposed expansion in Texas and Louisiana, to agree to an independent study, to make sure there's no residual pollution. We want to make sure there are people in prison for years in Vietnam because they protested the fact that the victims did not get the money from the settlement. So this, we need all of you, and I know all of you are doing your own work and you're doing important work, but when we call on you to come to court or to write a letter or to be an expert witness, please do that, because this is a gigantic fight. We're trying to expose this company and the plastics issue. Stay tuned, there's going to be a big announcement from Jane Fonda soon in support of this effort. And we look forward to anyone and all of you supporting this effort. It's all about fossil fuels. It's not a separate issue. It's all about fossil fuels. And I know that you're all part of it already. So thank you. And let's keep working together.